Okay, so in our last lecture series, we covered selection structures, if-else statements mostly. Uh, this week we're also gonna continue. We're gonna build up on that. We're gonna discuss some other type of selection structures, like nested selection structures, if, else, if, and the case selection structures. So, like I said, in this lecture series, I'm gonna talk about if else selection structure. Quite a mouthful. The case selection structure. We're gonna talk about pseudocodes of that. Um, we'll talk about radio buttons, displaying messages in a message box, and all that fun stuff. Okay, so nested selection structures basically mean that what we what I like to say as selection structure within a selection structure. So like if you have an if-else statement or just an if statement inside another if statement, that's what we call a nested selection structure. So basically, I mean, to go into the second statement, you have to fulfill the condition of the first one. And it basically gives you a compound selection structure so that you can make several decisions at one point. And I mean, here's some other terminology: primary and secondary decision. Although I can tell you that we don't really use these too much. Rather, we say that the primary decision, which is actually the outer selection structure, and secondary decision is the inner selection structure. That what the programmers generally use more often to refer to the different selection structures in a nested structure. So here's an example where a user gets to enter his or her age and whether he or she is registered to vote, and then it'll display that it displays some message that you can vote, or you need to register to vote, or you are too young to vote. The pseudocode is at the top right. So at first we assign some user input to some of our variables, and then basically if the first if statement, that it checks whether the person's age is greater than or equals to 18. Then if that is satisfied, and this we know how to do, we covered just a basic if-else statement. But if the first if selection or the if criteria is satisfied, then we go into the second if statement just below the first one, that which checks that whether the person is registered or not. So if both of these conditions are true, then it displays that you can vote. If he's over 18 but cannot but has not registered, then it displays that you need to register before you can vote. And if the person is not equals to or over 18, then it displays that you are too young to vote. And whatever pseudocode I talked about, the actual code is just actual visual basic code is just below that. And a point to mention here that is that, I mean, even here there's just two statements. You can nest as many as you want. So like there could be another if statement inside the if statement which looks for if the person is registered to vote or not. And really, I mean, it's up to you how many if statements you want to nest. And there can be other lines of code between two different if statements. You can do other stuff, and it really depends on what you're trying to do. And here's a flowchart on the application we just discussed. So after the start and assigning user input, then it checks whether it checks the age whether it's over or below 18, and then it executes or goes to two different paths. If that's false, you go directly to displaying that you are too young. If it's true, you then it goes to the next if else or decision to check whether it's registered or not, and then display accordingly, basically.